I heard you like him young.
Get out the way, man. Get out the way. Move out the way.
Get me out the way, homie. You a lame too. Hey Drake, you on the phone with an A minor.
If you hear the echo of Mother Africa in your soul and feel the magical blessings of your ancient homeland in your heart, as we do, then you're in for a wonderful experience here with us today.
With roughly 3 weeks left until rap music closes out its fourth quarter, I've been thinking a lot about the year we've had, particularly the culture's biggest moments. 2024 is an historic year for the genre and hip-hop culture as a whole, so let's rewind a bit to see how we got here.
Oh, what? Is this a firearm? Oh, no, that's not a gun. That's a fake gun. Yeah. Is this a firearm?
New details are emerging in the federal case against Sean Diddy Combs, the music mogul being held without bail after pleading not guilty to a host of charges.
I'm Sayou Cooper, and this is The Griots, reporting on hip-hop culture through a mix of soapbox editorials, weird commercial breaks, and some very serious guests. 2024 in rap began seemingly peaceful enough until the release of Megan Thee Stallion's Hiss on January 26. Wait, are we forgetting something?
On this didn't nobody on the track. Me just ask to make sure it's weird because it's behind a man who never even did a claim. We're having fun. This for everybody. It's weird.
Once Cat Williams' haterade portal was open, there was no stopping rap beefs, and the African diaspora got its most underrated one with a battle between British-Jamaican rapper Stefflon Don and dancehall musician Jada Kingdom. The beef was over the two women's relationship with the Afrobeat superstar Burna Boy. Stefflon Don had an on and off again relationship with Burna Boy for years, and Jada Kingdom received a shout out from the African giant on his 2023 verse for Taliban's 2. Kingdom secured a clear victory with her diss track London Bed, detailing uncomfortable details about Stefflon Don, which many assume she got from pillow talking with Burna Boy.
I haven't heard the record yet. Are you saying names?
I'm saying a hit dog gon' holler, that's it.
God damn. So it's multiple people.
Yeah, whoever feel it.
The roughly 3-minute track dictated the course of rap for the entire year, and the first domino piece in the really bad year for the Young Money, Cash Money collective. In the female rap space, the track was highly anticipated with tension between Megan Thee Stallion and Nicki Minaj brewing for around 2 to 3 years. Most cite the origin of the riff to the 2020 song WAP, a collaborative track between Megan Thee Stallion and Cardi B. Nicki Minaj has a long-standing beef with Cardi B. Hiss took shots at numerous of Megan Thee Stallion's adversaries, including Tory Lanez, Drake, Partisan Fontaine, and the misogynoir ethics of hip-hop culture, particularly the obsession and shaming of Megan's sex life, prejudice that male rappers don't face. But it was the "these hoes don't be mad at Megan, these hoes mad at Megan's law" that set Nicki Minaj on a multi-day spiral.
Y'all mad because y'all don't have somebody that loves you and stand 10 toes down behind you. So you bringing up 30-year-old teeth when this man was a 15-year-old child. You bringing up 30-year-old tea because no man has ever and will ever love you. And lying on your dead mother, on your dead mama, on your dead, you know, lied on a dead mama, lied on a dead mama, lied.
Hurling anti-black and misogynist insults at Megan. Her marriage to Kenneth Petty and her revisionist history about his abuse, now her Achilles heel. Minaj unanimously lost the battle after the release of Bigfoot on January 29. For that weekend in January, it wasn't just the biggest cultural moment in hip-hop, but also the internet and mainstream popular culture. But things quieted down quickly because Megan Thee Stallion did not release a diss track, choosing to respond to Nicki Minaj through singles off the Megan album. The better jobs from Rattle or Bigger in Texas with "I'm the youngest bitch owning her masters, bitches old fuck stuck in a deal," or "I ain't worried about the bitter bitch link up, your hoes earn them seats in the fan club, ain't got no tea on me, this whole thing she TMZ." In the words of Funk Master Flex, that's bars. Nicki Minaj licked her wounds on the very successful Pink Friday 2 tour, but there were still occasional weird lives or posts from her that further spew speculation about substance addiction. After dropping her third studio album, Megan went on tour for the summer with Glorilla. She hosted the VMAs in September, and her documentary, Megan Thee Stallion, in her words, was released on October 31st through Amazon's Prime Video.
Every day I see you is a fine day.
Rap beefs paused for a bit with the premiere of the Vince Staples Show on February 15. It's a good short and sweet watch once you forget Donald Glover's Atlanta ever happened with stellar wardrobe. Acting from Staples could be better, but he'll get another chance as leading man because Netflix renewed the show for another season. All eyes on the Atlanta rap scene again as Killer Mike's sixth studio album, Michael, sweep the major rap categories at the 2024 Grammy Awards. Michael won Best Rap Album, Best Rap Song, Best Rap Performance.
But don't tell no lie about me, and I won't tell truth about you.
The rap battle to decide this generation's greatest rapper of all time kicked off officially on March 26 with the release of Like That, a track from Metro Boomin and Future's We Don't Trust You studio album. As the story goes, Kendrick Lamar made a surprise appearance on Like That, denouncing the idea of the Big Three, an informal term to describe the 2010s most influential and best rappers, Drake, J. Cole, and Kendrick Lamar. J. Cole released a half-hearted attempt at the throne with 7 Minute Drill, and asterisks in the rap war between Kendrick Lamar and Drake. The song was eventually removed from streaming services, and Cole apologized to Lamar publicly during his set at the 2024 Dreamville Festival. What happened next was a lot of Michael Jackson and Prince references and hysteria from men and boys online. In order, Drake dropped Push-Ups and Tailor-Made Freestyle on April 19th. Kendrick Lamar responded with Euphoria on April 30th. The best track out of the diss war, and then he dropped 616 in LA on May 3rd. Drake dropped his magnum opus, Family Matters, shortly after, but it was not enough for Kendrick's wrath. Lamar overshadowed the Family Matters release with Meet the Grams at midnight, and then circling back to make sure his prey was dead with Not Like Us a few hours later. The year saw the final fall off of the Young Money Cash Money crew when Kendrick Lamar was announced as Super Bowl 59's halftime performer, a decision that didn't sit well with New Orleans rapper Lil Wayne.
Y'all would be lying to say that there's no level of tea that helped win this battle.
Yes.
No.
And hold on. Let me answer his question.
Once that door was opened, absolutely.
And another example of abusive men in hip-hop still being rewarded, Dr. Dre received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame on March 19th, and attendees included Eminem, Snoop Dogg, and 50 Cent. The karmic gods restored things though when Diddy's Los Angeles and Miami mansions were raided by Homeland Security on March 25th. The bad boy mogul was finally arrested in September. The charges included racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, and transportation to engage in prostitution.
CD Cinderella is dropping soon. I'm gonna say that. It's dropping very, very, very soon. I'm doing the finishing touches now.
In April, Doja Cat became the first female rapper to headline the Coachella Valley Music and Arts Festival. The highly acclaimed performance included a lot of blonde bundles and Doja singing in mud. Glorilla and JT finally squared out their tensions on X, aka Twitter. Their beef stems back to the 2023 VMAs, where rumors circulated the two got into a verbal and physical exchange. Glorilla supposedly slapped the city Cinderella, and she fuels speculations of this incident on her song Yeah Glow with the line, slapping rap bitches and making bail ho. Then, contradicting herself on another song titled I, which set JT off, Glorilla rapping, I just pray one day the bad bitches would come together, cause Cardi and Nicki on their track would break some f***ing records. Me and JT ain't the best of friends, but we ain't beefing. Glorilla's newer attitude on female rap unity, perceived as corny behavior to JT. The two women later reconciled, but JT continues some other public Twitter spats, most notably with her former groupmate, Young Miami. Since ending her affiliation with Diddy due to his legal woes, Young Miami has struggled to find relevance in hip-hop culture this year. JT and Young Miami's public back and forth wasn't too intense, and Young Miami was spotted at JT's birthday party in December. On Saturday News, Outkast producer and Atlanta hip-hop legend Rico Wade passed away on April 13th at 52 years old from heart failure.
What's up? I know. I threw a Christmas party and you peasant.
Hi, it's Sayou. This is the Griots, and I just wanted to wish our subscribers and hip-hop heads around the globe a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and just a Happy Holidays to all. I don't know, what other religious holidays are there? Is it like Hanukkah, Kwanzaa? In May, rapper Sean Kingston could no longer keep up with the Joneses. He and his mother, Janice Turner, were arrested in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Quoted directly from an AP News report, Kingston and Turner have been charged with conducting an organized scheme to defraud, grand theft, identity theft, and related crimes. The damages and fraud are estimated at $1 million. On May 14th, DJ Academics was sued for rape and defamation by Zia Abeshi. While visiting his New Jersey home, she alleged she was gang raped by 2 of Academics' friends, and in a separate attack by Academics himself. Academics denied these allegations on a Rumble livestream.
I look crazy right now, but I'm not gonna stand here and let this man continue to lie about me. That's not what happened, Academics. You know that that's not what happened. And for you to pretend that you didn't do anything, that I just went to your house and I'm just some thought, like we didn't know each other for 2 years. You tried to save yourself after your friends assaulted me. Whether or not you got drunk or not, I know that when you woke up, you were on top of me too. You raped me too, and a rape kit was done. You know what? I'm gonna come back with my own story. This what you wanted, you're about to get it. I've been quiet for way too long.
I like passion, my hair to my ass. Do the dash, can you make it go?
June brought even cooler live performances with Alabama native Flo Milli making her first NPR Tiny Desk performance. Chief Keef returned to the Chi-Town after 12 years to headline Lemonade's Summer Smash Festival. He was never banned from living in his hometown, but due to legal issues and the racial profiling of drill music at the time, he eventually left the city. Late June saw Double XL release their 2024 freshman class.
I went to official, I handle my business, I'm outside, let's get it. I call my, I blocked the new feature, because I'm about to spin it, GPS to see.
Once revered as the hip-hop list to be on, now leaves most hip-hop heads confused on how in the know they are about the culture, especially the freshest talents. 2024's class included Big X The Plug, The Mexican OT, Lay Banks, Boss Mandilo, Rich Amiri, Scarlett, Honcho, Maya the Don, Cash Cobain, and Skilla Baby, with Southside serving as the cypher producer. A$AP Rocky debuted his fashion line at the Paris Fashion Week and pretty much spent the year being paparazzi with Rihanna and their 2 sons, also teasing his 4th studio album, Don't Be Dumb, while engaging in a back and forth with Drake over their relationships with Rihanna. On June 11th, rapper Enchanting died from an alleged drug overdose. She was 26 years old.
hayane ciyar goydi kanan da borcin hijin daga katiyar da hayin daga katiyar rota kanda sai aga damiyar sai haidi ka yar koy da masi yar sabu yar koy da yar su mai haya kurkala borcin tarai.
In July, the murder trial for PNB Rock began. PNB was shot at Roscoe's House of Chicken and Waffles in Los Angeles in 2022, where he was dining with his fiancée. Quoted directly from a Fox LA news report after the trial was over, Freddie Throne was convicted August 7th of murder and conspiracy to commit robbery, along with 2 counts of second-degree robbery involving the 30-year-old rapper and his fiancée. Tremont Jones, 46, who was convicted of 2 counts of second-degree robbery and 1 count conspiracy to commit robbery, but who was not charged with murder in the case, was sentenced to 12 years in prison.
Hey man, I'm thinking about the event that happened over there. Let me tell you something. When the first dude stepped up to Rose, the little short fat one that looked like Bam Bam Bigelow from wrestling, when he stepped up, and then I squat down in his eyes and told him what I said. Basically, boy, if I hit you, I'm gonna see everything you ate for the last 2 days. His balls dropped out of his ass. He never said another word. He never did nothing. He was a straight buster.
July saw another casualty of the Kendrick Lamar versus Drake war, when video spread of Rick Ross and his crew getting attacked at the Vancouver Ignite Musical Festival. The rapper agitated Canadian fans by playing Not Like Us, which was followed by a confrontation. Rappers Cardi B and Offset continue their very public on and off again marriage. On August 1st, Cardi B took to Instagram to announce her 3rd pregnancy and also her divorce from Offset. And the weeks later, there were cheating allegations from both sides, but the divorce still isn't finalized. The rips continue for the summer when Caribou exited the rap group Concrete Boys. The group was created by Lil Yachty and includes members Camo, DC2 Thrill, and Draft Day. He crashed out on Instagram Live, accusing Caribou of not being a great person and not writing her own raps, particularly her On the Radar cypher. Caribou seems to be doing fine after the split, opening up for Lotto on her Sugar Honey Iced Tea tour. In other miscellaneous news this month, Ye's nitrous oxide addiction was exposed by Milo Yiannopoulos. He dropped both Vultures and Vultures 2 this year, with Carnival the standout track from both projects, which peaked at #1 on the Billboard Hot 100. Celtics MVP Jaylen Brown ventured into the booth with A$AP Ferg for Just Do It. Bars aren't terrible, but I prefer Jaylen on the court than in the booth. Central C was spotted wearing Bantu knots. Hip-hop legends Fat Man Scoop and B King died. And lastly, Blueface was sentenced to 4 years in prison for violating his probation.
Now moving forward, this is when it starts to really feel like mistreatment and just weird stuff. So the hairstylist shows me like a menu and stuff. She's like, oh, production and whatever, they're gonna order food for everybody, pick what you want. I was like, okay, I'll get a chicken salad just like you, like I'll just get a chicken salad. Then she shows me like a message where somebody from production is like, Cleo is not a part of the budget. So I'm just like,
September saw everyone talking about chicken salads as rapper Cleo Trappa aired out her experience opening up for Ice Spice on the Y2K World Tour. Noting there were a series of TikTok uploads, Ice Spice and her team treated her unfairly and refused to assist with tour meals such as a simple chicken salad. LL Cool J released his 14th studio album, The Force, with big name features like Sweetie, Snoop Dogg, Rick Ross, Nas, and Eminem. Glorilla received the key to the city of Memphis, and the murder trial for Young Dolph began. Justin Johnson was later found guilty of the murder. And unfortunate deaths. Rich Homie Quan died from an accidental drug overdose on September 5th at 34 years old. In October, Dr. Dre was sued by his former divorce therapist for $10 million due to alleged harassment and intimidation. Tyler, the Creator, released his 8th studio album, Chromacopia, and said he was the best out of the city after Kenny.
This past summer's rap battle between Drake and Kendrick Lamar, and now it's at the center of a legal dispute.
On November 8th, Lil Durk was arrested in Florida. Quoting directly from the U.S. Attorney's press release on the arrest, the Chicago rapper conspired with others to murder rival rapper, resulting in the shooting death of the rival's relative that occurred at a gas station near the Beverly Center shopping mall in Los Angeles in August 2022. The charges stem from King Von's death in 2020, with Lil Durk and his OTF crew essentially seeking revenge. Keeping with the theme of hip-hop and the prison industrial complex, Young Thug was released from jail after taking a plea deal for RICO charges. His friendship with Gunna is still unclear since he tweeted and deleted, "Gunna, stop acting like we're friends on the internet. I don't know you, my guy." And other news, NBA YoungBoy took a plea deal in his fraud case and should be out of prison in a year or two. The Grammys dropped their 2025 nominations for the rap categories, with Doechii the most nominated female rapper for her mixtape Alligator Bites Never Heal. As the year closed out, Kendrick Lamar surprise dropped his 6th studio album, GNX, and ruined everyone else's rollout. But the Certified Boogeyman was in for some media competition when Drake filed a pre-action legal petition against the music corporation UGM, or Universal Music Group. The November 25 petition accused UMG of violating the RICO Act to artificially boost the sales, streams, and popularity of Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us. A day later, Drake filed another petition, and that concludes the year in rap. Reporting from the east coast of the American Empire, I'm Sayou Cooper, and this is The Griots. I wrote and produced this episode. Our theme song for this season is Jaws by Suzuki-san. Our Instagram and other cool stuff can be found on our website. Links are always in the description. Thank you to the ancestors. Until next time.
Right now, we in the realm of quiet luxury. I got $10,000 for anybody in this room that can name the suit that I got on right now.
Pourquoi voulez-vous que je sois comme le tournesol qui tourne autour du soleil? Je suis moi-même le soleil.
It's the final weeks of Commercial Rap's 4th quarter, and while musical releases have our fullest attention, I want to know what rappers are wearing. From Tyler, the Creator's Louis Vuitton capsule collection, Doechii's Preppy transformation, or Kendrick Lamar's Red the Row hoodie, hip-hop continues its sundry relationship with the fashion industry. Fashion is not objective, but our ranking of 2024's Best Dressed Rapper is definite. I'm Sayou Cooper, and this is The Griots, reporting on hip-hop culture through a mix of soapbox editorials, weird commercial breaks, and some very serious guests.
Before people like Kanye West, fashion was really only reserved for gay men.
Revolution. And darling, the house, up and coming fashion house of Sean John.
This hip-hop lecture begins with Ye, formerly Kanye West. In October of 2011, he's fresh off the release of the hugely successful Watch the Throne, a joint album with his big brother and mentor Jay-Z. Weeks later, Ye debuts DW by Kanye West 2012 Spring-Summer Collection. The feedback from the line is mixed and occasionally harsh, but the collaborated Giuseppe Zanotti Pearl Heels seen on the models are actually insane, and currently on one of my many Pinterest mood boards. 4 years later, Ye changes the relationship between fashion and hip-hop culture forever with the debut of Yeezy Season 1. I had a fake pair of the Yeezy Boost 350 in zebra print and was infatuated in Ye's outerwear such as bomber jackets. 9 years later, Ye has had a weird year, still releasing music and dressing up a new white wife.
My name is Ayo. Alright, so welcome back to the channel, and today's video is a bit more chill. Officially, I'm a fashion journalist. That's the title I like to use. I write articles for different magazines. I make fashion content online, but I also consult for brands behind the scenes on their marketing strategy.
Like the term rapper doesn't even like apply to him anymore in a way, so it completely slipped my mind. But yeah, he's completely changed the entire game. So my name is Kyla Lee. I am a researcher, writer, fashion archivist, and just lover of the arts. I kind of dive into different avenues of fashion, like styling work. I do that. I work with celebrity clients or just my local artist friends.
Straight men didn't have the confidence to express themselves in any way until Kanye West. And so a lot of things that he wore, I'd say at the start, he used to dress kind of more like casual formal is what I call it. So he would wear like a varsity jacket with like cool sneakers and like shutter shades. Then he moved into an era of, you know, I'm on my like formal and that's when he was wearing like Bottega Veneta Chelsea boots with skinny bum on denim and, you know, Auntie Wilhelmina sweaters.
Every time Yeezy does something, it changes the way the world revolves. I feel like people kind of cling to it in a way where it's like, okay, that's what we're doing now. This is the new format. This is the new layout. We're wearing this.
There was a point in time in menswear when trends were Chelsea boots, biker jeans, certain like brands came with that. That was all from Kanye West. Like common men were wearing common projects with suits. That's all from Kanye West.
I have one of those tanks myself. Well, I got the romper. I got the full bodysuit. That was like a moment. Like you literally could not open your phone or go out without seeing the wet tank top. I think it had such a large influence because they kind of played on what was already happening in present time. Like slogan tees are really big right now. Like those have had a major comeback.
So I still think he's stylish. I still think that he is kind of pushing menswear forward. I just don't think he's as influential as he was. I don't think people look to Kanye West anymore when it comes to style, like how people dress. I don't think he's influencing menswear trends the way he used to. I think now other people have kind of taken his place in that sense, like especially someone like Playboy Carti.
Okay. I just cannot see that happening. Like everyone is kind of like an apprentice of Kanye. Like everyone is his son in a way. Like they're not gonna take that away from him because when Kanye moves, everyone moves. So it's like Playboy Carti is just a result of what Kanye has done, the foundation he has laid.
To be honest, I don't really think it has an identity anymore. It had a very strong identity when it first started. I think that's more to do with Ye himself being all over the place. Like, he might say something crazy tomorrow, who knows? So I think he's just kind of all over the place. One day, you know, Yeezy is making merch about White Lives Matter the next day. Yeezy is collaborating with Gap the next day. I think it's a bit random. I don't think it has any identity now, but when it first started, it definitely had a clear identity.
So for this episode, I figure I might do a rundown of my fit since this is a fashion and investigative piece.
La paire là, c'est du Weston, hein? La paire, c'est du Weston. Ça va dans les... Bon, c'est cher, hein, un Weston. Je l'ai acheté parce que, comme un sapeur...
So I'm wearing a Uniqlo white t-shirt. I think Uniqlo have like the best form-fitting t-shirts. And then for the shoes, since I'm like always walking somewhere, I just have on some like New Balance 2002 Rs. But yeah. In 2021, Ghanaian-American designer and artistic director Virgil Abloh passed away after a short battle with cancer, a diagnosis the general public was unaware of. His professional work is defined by his inventions, Pyrex and Off-White, and finally his tenure as men's creative director at Louis Vuitton.
At the time I started Walkaware, it was a very misogynistic time within hip-hop. I had a big hesitation about trying to bring out a line being a woman.
Since the death of Virgil Abloh and Pharrell's appointment as his replacement, the French luxury fashion house is still the premier brand for most rappers.
Virgil Abloh has been working with Kanye West for like a really long time. Like he worked on like Donda 2 and stuff. He used to like go around with Kanye West. That's a big reason why both of them interned at Fendi.
Are there any like really bad dress rappers that you want to point out? Like people you immediately think like, oh my God, like awful.
Oh, I'm sorry. Lil Baby came to mind. I don't even know. I don't even check on Lil Baby, but he again gives like really Atlanta, and that's not a diss to Atlanta. I'm in Georgia, the South Atlanta right now, but it's like I love the culture, but it gives like very skinny, tight denim. Like it's like haven't figured out the proportions. It's too many logos. It's just like it's trying to be seen as a status of wealth, and it's like we get it.
Kanye West has a really cult following. So it's one of those things where if you're into Kanye West, you kind of know everything that happens around Kanye West. And so you would notice Virgil Abloh, you would know who he was. And so when Pyrex came out, it made sense because Kanye West was endorsing it. A$AP Rocky was in the campaign. You had A$AP Nasty in the campaigns as well. So all the hip hop heads that he kind of used to roll with, like the A$AP Mob, Kanye West, like these kind of people, they were all kind of integrated and promoting and wearing the clothes anyway.
No shade. I really appreciate their style. I had to say Lotto. I feel like
I am
Lotto
shocked by that.
I know. Everything else is gonna make like sense, but I had to put Lotto because I feel like her outfits are so cute. I don't know who her stylist is. I've never seen her like credit anyone for styling unless it's an award show or red carpet, but just like her day-to-day looks. I like her color palette. It's very cozy girl, but like she'll have on like designer brands with like something you wouldn't think to pair it with, and it just looks so good and cool. So
speaking of cool, in addition to clothing, there were some interesting beauty and hair looks this year. Florida rapper Doechii ditching her wigs for some beaded cornrows. Best braids of the year go to A$AP Rocky though, who's been leading braided hairstyles in men's fashion for a while now. His braider is Tashana Miles, and she did this braided pearl look for Rocky's Billboard cover. African natural hair not manipulated is also more common. The visuals for Tyler the Creator's Chromecopia is a good example. Lastly, how can we forget about the lock community, a hairstyle that overtook the black natural hair space and hip-hop culture in recent years, largely led by southern rappers, particularly Lil Wayne. There's Jay-Z's Wick locks, J. Cole's Freeforms, and Future's bleach ones. Makeup this year led by the hood's favorite weird black girl, JT, Megan Thee Stallion, Doechii, Doja Cat, and Sweetie are runner-ups. Faded haircuts never disappear, with Kendrick Lamar having the best hairline in the game, but back to Virgil.
Virgil Abloh made Louis Vuitton really successful financially. When Virgil Abloh was at Louis Vuitton passed 20 billion euros in annual revenue, which was a big goal that had never been reached in fashion ever. No fashion brand had ever reached 20 billion euros of revenue in 1 year, ever. And Louis Vuitton was the first, and a big reason for that was because of Virgil Abloh. And so, in trying to think of how they could build on that success, they needed someone who is well versed in fashion, has experience designing clothes, has had successful brands, but also has a similar audience so they can build upon it. And at that point, Pharrell is really the only option. Who else is kind of embedded into hip hop, but also has a really deep understanding of fashion, has designed many things before, has had their own brand that's been successful, so they understand how a brand should work and operate.
To me, the first creative gesture was always skateboarding or graffiti. Pyrex Vision was sort of our early phase of making art.
Most of Virgil Abloh's quotes, he always references some sort of hip hop concept. So he will say something like, Duchamp is my lawyer, because historically Duchamp is an artist that was kind of blurring the lines between what does ownership mean and who really owns what.
Supreme is my Louis Vuitton. This to me is a Margiela of its time.
Historically, there wasn't like Black people being given roles at the highest level of fashion. So historically, the only person that has been Black and designed at a major, actually two people, that have designed at major fashion houses is Olivier Rousteing, who's been at Balmain for a really long time, and then Oswald Boateng, who was the creative director of Givenchy. So outside of those two, and maybe Edward Buchanan, who was creative director of Bottega, but when he was creative director of Bottega, it was kind of like an unknown brand. He was like one of the first creative directors of Bottega, so this was like early days when no one knew what it was. So it's just, we don't really get those opportunities. We don't see Black people in those positions. So I think it was actually insane because for years and years and years and years, there were so many Black designers who we thought deserved to be on that level, like Shane Oliver, like Virgil Abloh before he was finally hired, like people like Telfar. So it was more just like, wow, finally. During Black Lives Matter, and he had the pledge, and people were really angry about him, which I think was a bit unfounded, because the reason why he wanted an affordable pledge is so that people can match it. That was the point. And people mistook what he meant and said, because separately he had donated hundreds of thousands. So that was like, I remember one thing that he was critiqued heavily for. I think another thing that he's been critiqued heavily for is one time, I think one of his teams of Off-White, everyone was white. Now, I get it, but I don't get it, because when you think of the region in which his factories were, because his brand was owned partially by New Guards Group. New Guards Group are the people that do the production for Off-White. Well, at least back then, that was run by people like Claudio Antonioli, who also owns a store in Italy. That region of Italy, there aren't really Black people. So even if he wanted to hire Black people, do Black people want to go there? Do Black people want to live there? That's another thing. It's like, so I think sometimes there isn't a lot of nuance when people have these conversations. It's just a picture comes out, there's no Black person, so he doesn't help Black people, which isn't true, because I think Virgil Abloh, I've never actually seen a designer help as many other designers as him. I've never actually seen it, especially Black designers. I know so many Black designers that are successful now because of Virgil Abloh, whether it's through his mentorship or him actually just opening doors for people. Like I said, he wore a young Black designer's clothing to the Met Gala. Like, he was under no obligation to do that. He did that simply because he wanted to highlight a young Black designer and help them get more visibility. And that's what he always used to do, constantly used to talk about different Black designers, constantly used to help them, constantly used to mentor them. Some people he would even support financially. So I think it's very unfounded to me when it comes to Virgil Abloh. With Tremaine, it's a bit different.
Today we're celebrating the season of light.
Dear Santa, you are a Wait, hold on.
The Griots wishes our subscribers a happy holidays and safe travels to wherever you call home. For new people, thanks for clicking this video. We hope you stay a while longer.
My number one for best dressed of 2024 is Lil Yachty.
I dressed you. I dressed all 5 of y'all niggas. I dressed 5 every time we stepped out the house. I put an outfit on everybody.
Hate him or love him, it's a clean sweep for the Griots' best dressed rapper, Lil Yachty.
I think his style is so dope. Like, I think that's how I describe it, just dope. Like, he has a wardrobe where I'm like, I just want to rummage through it and wear all the clothes. Like, just even as far as silhouettes, he wears a lot of baggy jeans, oversized jackets, and that's kind of like my style. I like oversized clothing. I like menswear a lot too, and I feel like he does it really well. And I see how he does it well because like he styles like women, like Caribou, he styled her before, and I like how like his clothes, like I could see it on her and I could see it on him, and it looks great, like unisex.
Hip hop, or let's say the music, is always influenced by cultural things that happen in the country. So in the US, for example, the reason why, let's say, Jordans is embedded heavily into hip hop, or people wear varsity jackets or athletic gear, is because hip hop is kind of embedded into American sports, and one of the biggest American sports being basketball. Now in the UK, basketball isn't popular. So when you look at our hip hop scene, the clothing that we wear reflects things like football, what you guys call soccer, and like the culture around that.
I feel like he's revolutionized Tim's. Like, I don't know how he did that because he's not from up north. Like, Tim's is a generational thing. Like, Tim's will never go out of style. But I feel like for maybe, let's say 5 years, 2 years, like people weren't wearing Tim's like day to day. Like Tim's was something people was bringing out the closet when like winter came around.
I don't know if you know Little Sims, but she has definitely been like embedded into like the fashion scene. Like she walks on the runways and like she's in the campaign. In fact, she was in the latest Gucci campaign that they did in the Savoy. She was one of the faces of the campaign.
Best dressed female rapper and ranked at number 2 on our list is the City Cinderella, JT.
I love JT. Like, I see myself in her a lot. Like, she is so cool, the epitome of cool to me, because she's like just this girl from the hood who dresses like a weirdo. And she says that in one of her songs, No Bars, like, hood chick dressed like a weirdo.
She shines best in editorial looks such as the cover stories for Paper and Essence magazines. Hardest fashion moments of the year are probably the cover art for the City Cinderella mixtape and her Marnie fur coat moment. And despite the limited budget for the City Cinderella tour, the wardrobe was quite ambitious. She and Doechie's link up for Alter Ego was an alt black girl's dream. Shout out to the trailblazer, Rico Nasty.
Are there any like fashion brands that she's been pretty consistent with working this year? That stuff she tends to go back to often?
Moa Lola, I noticed she did like Moa Lola did like a custom bodysuit for her, and like no one has ever like posted about it or like done like any like research. I mean, like, well, I've looked into it, but I can't find any information on it. But I know Moa Lola, she takes like custom commissions. She mentioned that in an interview, like people come to her and like ask her to make garments. So I feel like that's one of the pieces that she asked her to make. And like, I'm like, this is so cool. Why is anyone talking about this? But also, she's like done a music video for her. She's had her in her ad campaigns for the Beats by Dre headphones. So I just feel like that pairing together creates such a good look. Like Moa Lola is also just like a weirdo in fashion, just like a weird black girl.
Because the thing about Skepta, I love what he does. Like he has a brand, Mains, and he had a runway show with Mains at the last London Fashion Week, actually, like really recently. But I think no one talks about it though.
At number 3 is Playboy Cardi. He begins the year with an appearance at the Vultures listening party wearing a Pile Pile heritage jacket and some Timbs from the Moaloa collaboration. His mesh Rick Owens bodysuit worn a few days earlier is a big social media chatter moment. His most consistent accessory this year is durags, pairing them with sports jerseys and YVL, Young Vamp Life encrusted diamond jewelry.
He's definitely pushing the boundaries. Up until present time, there's not many people as rappers that have dressed like him. Like, he's completely changed what it means to be a rapper, I feel, in terms of fashion. Like, there's no one that looks like him. And I think that's great that he's carved his own identity and own lane.
The way he dresses has literally been called, like, there's a term for it, like opium. Like, so when you think of like Playboi Carti and opium, you think of people wearing Balenciaga and Rick Owens and wearing like all these dark brands and all black.
I think Playboi Carti's audience is a very, I guess, white teenage boy audience. So it's like they're looking for something to cling to. So when he does it, it's like, okay, we have to follow like our leader. Like, they're very like minions in a way. I think like they're just like, I have to do it because Carti said to do it. So if we're wearing all black Rick Owens boots that don't really fit, we're gonna wear those boots. Or if he's wearing a baseball jersey and a do-rag, okay, we have to switch it up. We're going to do that now.
Coming in at number 4, the Swamp Princess, Doechii. Before the release of Alligator Bites Never Heal, Doechii's style was firmly in the alternative lane. Weird wigs, colored contacts, and bold makeup. After the late August release of her mixtape, she deliberately toned it down. She's wearing a lot of preppy Miu Miu and Tom Brown. The color palette is greens, browns, and warm neutral tones, a stylistic uniform that kind of reminds you of Tyler the Creator's project rollouts. She still hasn't completely left weirdcore though, for example, dressing up as a man for her Paper magazine photo shoot, or Banish and Stain in Willie Chavaria.
For Alligator Bites Never Heal, this current era that she's in, she has been doing a very like studious and collegiate look, and I adore it. Like, it's very Tom Brown coded and I love it. It's like the blazers, the little ascot in the pocket, the pleated skirts. I think it's so cool because just as a fan, it kind of gives me this idea like she's a student of rap, like she's a student of the game. Like, I don't know what happened in the boardroom meeting when she was coming up with this whole marketing thing, but that's what I kind of get from it. Like, I'm a student, like I'm still learning as I'm going, but I am actively studying and producing hip-hop, you know? So
while he usually tops most rap lists at number 1, for this ranking, Compton's very own Kendrick Lamar takes 5th place, popping out in July with this Tupac-inspired styling and that Prada bomber jacket for his October Harper's Bazaar cover. He's more active on his not-so-secret Finsta, so you do get glimpses into his everyday style. Best styling moments of the year, the They Not Like Us music video with clothing mostly from British Jamaican fashion designer Martine Rose.
So when he first like came out as an artist, was not looking to him as fashion. Like, everyone was glued to his lyrics and his music. Like, he has great music and people respect him for that. But I think now recently in this like current era of music that he's doing, he's become a lot more fashionable. He's giving very like grown man, well put together. Like, and the They Not Like Us video, I've watched it like a million times. I love that video. It's so cool. He was wearing a lot of Martine Rose, the black designer. I believe she's like from London or something, the UK. It's just very posh. Like, it's very upper echelon, like black luxury, I feel. I think that's what he gives. He gives very much luxury, but not in your face. Like, I'm wearing designer, I'm wearing Gucci, da 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 da. It's just like, I have on a very nice pair of pants right now on a very nice shirt and it looks good, you know?
Where Denim Tears is at, culturally and financially, I didn't need the job. So why'd I take it?
In terms of trends, brands-wise, it's still definitely Chrome Hearts. Like, I honestly, every time I open Twitter, it's just some rapper trying to buy Chrome Hearts, honestly.
I feel like Offset is like, I'm not a fan of his like fashion. I feel like it gives like so Atlanta, like middle of the mall type fashion. And it's like he has the means to shop well. Like, he's wearing the brands we know, but it's like, it's just, I don't know, is it because he's him or just the way he puts it on? Like, he's he's not badly dressed, but it's not anything I'm impressed with.
Even a lot of these hip hop artists, they're kind of rebranding themselves to kind of be the perfect fit for certain brands. It's just interesting to observe.
Weirdly enough, I like Gunna's style. Like, I feel like I've never seen him in person, but I feel like if he was like down the street and like I saw the back of his silhouette, I would know it was him because he has a very like identifiable look. Like he has a very like short torso, so he's gonna wear like a boxy t-shirt with like a short sleeve, and then he has long legs, so he's always wearing like a stacked pant or a boot cut flared pant.
Versace was one of the earliest brands to adopt hip hop as a thing, but it was still kind of like from an arm's length. And I don't think it was until you had people like Kanye West wearing women's wear Celine, endorsing people like Phoebe Philo, doing all these things, going to the Paris Fashion Week shows. You had people like A$AP Rocky on 106 and Park wearing a skirt with Air Force Ones, and people like roasting him. He was wearing Under Mister and stuff like that. That people started to also view rappers as like, oh, these people actually know about fashion. It's not just about wearing loud logos. And I think that helped to change people's perceptions about hip hop.
He definitely like put everyone on, like in New York. Like he created like this whole wavy vibe where everyone's like, oh, we're wearing like Jeremy Scott's now, and like what was he wearing around that time? Just what Hood by Air and stuff like that. Like he definitely contributed to building streetwear culture like that. He laid a foundation for us. But I feel like present day, like I still think of him as a music artist, a rapper, but I feel like he's so like upper echelon now where it's like people aren't really looking at him. Like he's in the public eye because of who he's dating. He's with Rihanna, who is like a fashion mogul. Like she is what fashion is. People look to Rihanna. So it's like I don't look at him for fashion anymore. I wish I could, but I'm just not necessarily interested in what he's wearing. I'm interested in what the person next to him is wearing.
So there are people that definitely have cool style, but I think because fashion is snobby once again, so I think fashion people don't really take someone seriously just because they dress a certain way, unless like they've shown that they know about fashion.
I love Megan too. Like I have a very soft spot for her in my heart, but I feel like I don't feel like people look to her for her fashion. Like she's very personality based. I feel like that's why she gets a lot of brand deals and brand partnerships, is because she has this very outgoing, lovable, fun personality. I don't think people are like, what's Megan Thee Stallion wearing? What's she doing now? Like people aren't looking to her for that. I feel like recently though, like she's been very involved with like anime and Japanese culture, and she's been taking some trips to Japan, and I feel like that has spotlighted her fashion because it's showing her personal expression. Like her style is now reflecting what she's really into.
I think Pharrell Williams has literally made men buy handbags. It's insane. Like men are literally wearing Louis Vuitton Speedies, which is like mind-blowing before, because I feel like 5 years ago as a man, if you wore a Speedy, people would probably call you gay. Whereas now in hip hop, men all carry Speedies.
Something that doesn't get talked about enough, I think, just like this society, like post Virgil.
I knew from like a kid I really wanted to be in fashion. I was super into just the different combinations you could put together. I would just like every day at school, like fashion was like my go-to. Even though I was super scholarly, like into the books, like what I wore was like the most exciting thing for me, I think.
I think I've always been interested in fashion, just being Nigerian. I think fashion and the way you look is something that has always been important culturally.
My high school days was all like Tyler the Creator. I'm like super like geeked out fan about Tyler. Like that was my life. Like wearing Odd Future t-shirts, like shopping at Zoomies, like just get a OFT.
So I actually became a fashion journalist by making YouTube videos because I was young when I started making YouTube videos, and I think you can't really write articles for magazines being that young because people don't take you seriously. So
his color palette has kind of changed. Like I feel currently he's very into pastels with his Le Fleur brand. He wears a lot of pastels, pinks, baby blues, like seafoam green.
Virgil Abloh, I think, single-handedly changed the fashion industry because in fashion, it was always, because fashion, especially high fashion, is a very snobbish side of fashion. It's very much like you have to go to the right schools, you have to study fashion design at Parsons or FIT or Central St. Martin's or Polymoda in Italy, or those kind of places. And you have to have worked at Balenciaga for 10 years and worked at Louis Vuitton and Margiela, and then you can become a creative director. There's like a rite of passage, it seems like. And so if you don't follow that traditional rite of passage, almost no one takes you seriously.
I want to see people like kind of be more of a character, like just like really expand on the person they are and create a character out of it. Because Tyler does that, Doechii does that in a way, Tierra Whack does that in a way. Like they are themselves, and then they create this whole garment around it.
I almost think that brands try too hard. They like make these ultra innovative things that sometimes it sells, sometimes it doesn't, because it's so avant-garde and so like out there. And what Virgil Abloh came and did was, well, once again, his whole Duchamp, him saying Duchamp is my lawyer. It's like, okay, what does luxury mean? Who decides what luxury is? Why can luxury only come from Balenciaga? And what about the clothing makes it luxury? What if I make a hoodie, but I just change the context in which the hoodie is worn?
I feel like Tierra Whack is like in a whole different stratosphere. She like has this so funky, cool, whimsical, cartoony like style. Like she's a character, and it's kind of like, no offense, like clown-esque. Like it's like she's like not in like a caricature kind of way, but it's like she's not afraid to wear funky bright patterns and colors and like do a whole monochromatic look with like this crazy big silhouette.
With Denim Tears, I don't really know what his goal is. It's very hard to figure out his goal, because kind of like what you're saying, the point you brought up earlier, where it's like you can make whatever you're making, but if the audience is white people, especially, how do you contend with that, and what does that actually mean for what you're trying to achieve? If you're making, like in Supreme, for example, a big discourse was he wanted artwork. He wanted to work. He wanted to basically put artwork that depicts slavery and images of slavery on clothing with Supreme, which he thought was kind of like more highlighting it. But then you have to consider, who is the audience buying this stuff? As many white teenagers. Do white teenagers want to wear depictions of black slavery on them? And if they're buying it, are they buying it because they care about slavery, or are they buying it because it's just like a caricature of like what they think is cool? Are you doing it because you are trying to highlight black slavery, or do you also realize that when you do that, you are in a way kind of commodifying slavery? You're turning the imagery into a commodity to be sold.
The girls are selling all the clothes and the brands, like they are the ones getting the deals. I feel like male rappers is like slim pickings with them. It's hard to find a male rapper who could even be a face of a brand just by their music content. It's kind of hard to put someone on the face of like, I don't know, Louis Vuitton, and they're like rapping about violence and stuff like that. So it's like the woman, they could clean it up and be like cute and pretty, like they could double as a model. So the women are the one really doing it in terms of fashion. Men, they're kind of on the back burner right now.
There has always been a strong link between fashion and hip hop, I think, in my mind. But I think it's a lot stronger now. I think now, especially because the mainstream fashion industry is accepting hip hop worldwide, whereas I'd say in the 90s that definitely wasn't the case.
Reporting from the east coast of the American Empire, I'm Sayou Cooper, and this is The Griots. I wrote and produced this episode. Our theme song for this season is Jaws by Suzuki-san. Our Instagram and other cool stuff can be found on our website. Links are always in the description. Thank you to the ancestors. Until next time.
Now, Alligator Bites Never Heal, iconic album, but also iconic artwork for you know, you got the croc in the hand. Have you interacted much with alligators since you're from Florida?
Yes, so the alligator that's on the cover is actually real.
2024 in rap saw everybody pop out. Singles, mixtapes, EPs, and full studio albums flooded the Billboard Hot 100 and our listening ears. But visually, our eyes were also spoiled. Since the late 80s and the emergence of Yo MTV Raps, placing hip-hop in the mainstream, visual art has become a huge part of a tape's rollout. 2024 saw ambitious visual art rollouts, particularly album cover art from rap pillars and newcomers. But who deserves that #1 spot? I'm Sayou Cooper, and this is The Griots, reporting on hip-hop culture through a mix of soapbox editorials, weird commercial breaks, and some very serious guests.
Design is everywhere. It's like on your phone, it's on the street signs when you walk outside, on the bus, on the subway.
And on this episode you're watching now, in fact, design is a huge part of my role running this platform. Principal journalist first and designer second. Every aspect of your viewership experience has been curated by me. I think about you all the time. I'm actually obsessed with you. By the time you see us in your algorithm, click the video, like, comment, or even subscribe, like Big Brother, I'm watching and guiding you to these interactions. Our brand identity is embedded throughout all episodes via our logo and watermark. Our name is a big deal for me, so you'll see references to it constantly. Are you watching these episodes on your phone or laptop? And how small or big does our font look? These are questions that consume my mind and the mind of most designers, particularly graphic designers. Graphic design has been with us since the beginning with cave art and the creation of written language and printing. In popular culture, you've seen snippets of the industry intersecting with advertising in AMC's popular series, Mad Men. There was the Bauhaus movement, Art Deco, Swiss design, pop art, postmodernism, and the digital revolution. Due to the intersectionality of my identity, I don't tend to subscribe to these movements, drawing influence instead from Black artists and designers like Emory Douglas, who was the former Minister of Culture for the Black Panther Party. I enjoy political propaganda, so the Soviet Union's anti-colonialism posters are very interesting to me.
So I'm Rachel Cabot. I am a visual artist within like the music community. I work part-time at this indie record label called Mexican Summer that focuses a lot on like Americana, folk, rock, indie rock. And then I also have a creative studio called Pond Creative. At the beginning, like the first album cover was made in 1939, and then the album covers became like the norm, I would say, in the 50s, you know, across various genres. But I think it was still in the early days much more of a commercial way just to sell the album rather than the artists themselves like really thinking of like, okay, if I can really control this visual to match the messaging or the story behind the music that I'm writing, like that could really bring it to the next level.
How would you describe the difference between a designer and artist?
Oh, that's a good question.
Collaboration goes back to me playing with Legos on my parents' living room floor with my other friends and, you know, sharing things and things get knocked over, you know.
I would kind of consider myself like in the Venn diagram of the two. Like when I'm working for the record label or for my studio, like I am a designer and a photographer from like my artistic practice. But then when I am like working on those projects, I would say I am like a designer in this like specific way of like, oh, somebody has hired me, as opposed to like, oh, somebody saw a photo that I had taken out of my own, you know, free time and artistic practice and like want to kind of purchase that and commission that.
So going back to the design part, like how would artists come up with the vision for their cover art? Are they talking with the designer studio about what the music is about, and like what is the process from, you know, like
this is an idea, a concept to like final publication.
Totally, yeah. I mean, I think it's different for every musician just because, like Kendrick or Tyler, they already have such a visual, mind. Whereas some artists, have no idea what they want. And they can say, I trust you. Like, what do you think would look cool? The Drawing Board is a creative studio that was the creative studio that Def Jam used for their first 10 years of album covers. So I think honestly the record label was really a resource of whoever their A&R was. They would know photographers from concerts or other press photos and would truly just connect everybody. When rock and roll, hip hop, they're coming onto the scene, that's when you're really seeing for the first time characters or real stories that are being told, rather than okay, hey, we know that for this jazz artist or for this tango artist, we're gonna photograph them in a studio, nice suit, nice dress, and put a nice typeface. Now we're getting into this personalized era.
Hey, this is Sayou. So you guys are going to spend the day with me, but with a twist. You guys are going to spend the day with me through design. So we're going to see the ways that I interact with marketing and ads and graphic design in general, and how design interacts with my daily life so you can make connections to your life.
Governments and corporations love Helvetica because on one hand it makes them seem neutral and efficient, but also it's the smoothness of the letters makes them seem almost human. That is a quality they all want to convey because of course they have the image they're always fighting that they are authoritarian, they're bureaucratic, you lose yourself in them, they're oppressive. So instead, by using Helvetica, they can come off seeming more accessible, transparent, and accountable, which are all the buzzwords for what corporations and governments are supposed to be today.
Yeah, I mean, I think typography is so interesting, especially nowadays in streaming, where when you are viewing an album on your phone, the image is already so small. So if you are going to put typography on there, baseline just needs to be legible, right? Or kind of what's the point of even having typography on there?
We begin our ranking with Bronx drill rapper Ice Spice, 2024's worst cover art for Y2K.
I mean, looking at this Ice Spice cover now, there's just a lot of typography in general going on between the graffiti that is, her name, that is weirdly, it looks like it's also going over her own body, which I'm okay, if it's graffiti, then it should just be on the wall. And then, yeah, Y2K on the trash. It gives that, kind of, I don't know, derogatory undertone of, oh, is this literal trash? Or what is that representative of, this is her first album. This is her debut album. How do we, kind of not associate those two things? And then even, you can see this, the subway signage popping out. Having ICE as the train lines, which I think is a cute idea, but then it's also not even the actual typography of the New York City MTA.
Next up on the worst cover art ranking is Megan Thee Stallion's Megan and Megan Act 2, a surprising placement for the Houston rapper who usually does well with the visual components of her rollouts. Her music videos always look high budget and accurately on theme, but the Megan covers had several missteps. What happened was a pattern of her releasing the official cover art, hearing the feedback, and then changing. Act 2 was teased with this cover art on October 18th, then changed to this version on October 21st. Also, the project's imagery switching heavily from snakes to butterflies was a rough translation pivot for consumers outside of her hardcore fans.
The fans were also just immediately as she released this, everybody was what is this? And I think it's kind of rare for when fans don't like the album art, because I would say in general with album art there's a lot more bad album covers out in the world than there are necessarily good. I mean, now that there's this whole world of alternative covers in mainstream music that make a bit more like exclusive releases, but I do think that the second album cover is much better, and that again, it's just simplified. Like if you just look at the two of them right now, it's the juxtaposition is like just so like clear, in that it's just a beautiful, simple image. There's no type, no like clear opacities that are trying to get away or get in the way of the message. I think my favorite cover of hers this year is honestly this most recent Megan Act 2. It's very reminiscent of Pen and Pixel, which was an early like hip hop design firm in Houston, Texas, that kind of really set the aesthetic for like Southern rap and hip hop. And I just think this is such a good like reference to it. It's just the chrome lettering and also keeping that same butterfly motif that was part of the whole entire album campaign. And it also just like it visually like looks like how she sounds in a way. Like it's very powerful, very in your face. And it's like still like very feminine and like girly, but also like very sexy and powerful, which I think is hard to pull off. Like I think people always are like, oh, we need a hot pick. But this one is very much just like a cool collage grills butterfly that I really love. And even though it goes into like that outlandish, like ostentatious, like kind of look, it's still, I think, a much more like interesting image. And it also like goes back to her roots of like being from Texas and like being within the Southern rap community.
Other notable contenders for 2024's worst cover art are Metro Booming and Future's We Don't Trust You, and Ian's Valedictorian. We Don't Trust You is creatively boring, and you get no sense of the vibe of the project through the cover art. The photography for Ian's mixtape is him relying on this tongue-in-cheek marketing, a white boy rapping on trap beats.
This is my favorite bubble tea place. I think the logo is very interesting. It's very pink, and pink is one of my preferred colors. Sorry, I'm not recording you. Okay.
I didn't want to interrupt your shot.
No worries. And then this is another one, like a psychic reading place. Another cool. I really like unique logoing and cool different fonts.
So you'd have this your background for Illmatic. Danny Clinch, the photographer, when he showed us this picture, it just felt like you get a chance to see the neighborhood in a larger way.
When you had talked about like trends or like cultural imagery, I mean, I think in general, before we even like specifically get into hip hop and rap, I think like the timeless portrait has always been, you know, like true and steady way to like market a new artist.
In the 90s, a Houston-based graphic design firm by the name of Pen and Pixel transformed cover arts in the rap game. Founded by brothers Aaron and Sean Brock, the design firm worked closely with Masterpiece No Limit Records and Berman and Slim's Cash Money Records.
Like this basically was in the come up of like when Photoshop, you know, and computer graphics like were really becoming popularized, but they were doing this all by hand. Like they photographed like every single prop in their photo studio, whether that was like cars, bottles of champagne, stacks of bills, like chains, like anything that you could think of. They had an archive of all these props.
So with Snoop Dogg, we had 10 minutes. That's all we had. So Snoop Dogg would come in. We had to have everything ready as it is here now.
So then going back to the Megan like album art, you totally see the chrome lettering. Then you also see with 21 Savage and Metro Boomin, you see Future, like all of these now modern, you know, artists are totally like playing homage to Pen and Pixel.
He sat down, we had the pose ready, we had the sketch ready. We shot the pictures of him in several pictures.
And I feel like that is such a kind of like aesthetic root of hip hop as well, is that you're always paying homage, whether it's like in your name, whether it's like paying, you know, respect to the city that you came from and the community there. And now I think album covers has become like such a new route of being able to like pay respect.
Now for the name of the album. The album comes out on November 23rd. And that is actually the week of Black Friday, which I don't know if the people in UK would know what that is, but
I feel like Doja and Nicki's first album covers were very much just, hey, we know that like this really commercial like looking photo shoot, pink, is a tried and true easy way to go, but it doesn't feel like them. Like if you think of Nicki or Doja today, I don't think these album covers are very representative of the actual, of their own artistic vision. While like while I was looking at Nicki's whole discography, it is like very pink. So I think she has like, taken that one thread throughout her, artistic journey. It still feels like, oh, you could swap any other female artist into these covers and it could work just because it's a template. But I think within like hip hop and rap, I like have noticed such a big trend of like childhood photos. You can like see it from Nas, Biggie, Lil Wayne, and like up to even, Drake, 21 Savage this year, Killer Mike. I think it's, they're taking the original tried and true route of showing their face, but showing, themselves before they are the famous adult that they are now, showing like that innocence, that upbringing, that, come up, I think is also a really big like part of hip hop. People love the come up in the story. So I think this is like a really interesting and like fun, way to kind of like show another side of yourself.
Look at this one. Very Christmas theme. At number 1, 2024's best album cover art goes to Tyler the Creator's Chromacopia.
I mean, I guess we'll start with Tyler the Creator because I just feel he is like such a like art luminary within rap, and that he really does whatever he wants to do. He has a total visual world that he has created and like is constantly expanding.
Luis Perez served as the director of photography, with the ceramic mask worn by Tyler on the cover acquired by Tara Razavi. She runs the creative agency Happy Place, which has worked with Tyler before. From an article in the artwork, writer Min Chen notes the rapper is decked out in a trench coat, one hand dramatically outstretched with a sepia tone, lending the entire image to the theatrics of 1950s film still. Color is a huge theme for this cover art, with a literal translation of chromacopia, color abundance, or something close to it. As usual, there's many fan theories on chromacopia's imagery, but everything ties back to surrealist art, switching a normal looking illustration, photograph, or video and turning it into intentional absurdity based on the subconscious. That weird dream you can't stop thinking about days later might count as surrealist art of the mind.
When I was like looking more into the art, I realized that he actually does a lot of his own design and creative direction, which I always love when like an artist, whether it's within hip hop or in rap or like, any genre, they're also like a visually minded person. I feel like it makes art that much more personal. But yeah, I mean, his latest release, Chromacopia, it's definitely a photography heavy album art. But even within this photo, you can still see a lot of like design elements of lighting, of like the posture and the framing, of like referencing this like older vintage world, yet it's also like simultaneously like futuristic.
Next up at number 2 is Tierra Whack's Worldwide Whack. The artwork was created by conceptual artist Alex Del Corte and quoted directly from the press release on January 24th, the first reveal of the Worldwide Whack character, an alter ego both untouchable and vulnerable, superhuman and painfully human, whose surprising story will unfold in images and video over the course of the album's visual rollout. Like Tyler the Creator, Whack is such a visionary but doesn't get the credit she deserves. deserves.
I mean, I even do really love Vince's album art.
At number 3, it's the very intentionally simple Dark Times by Vince Staples. Quoted directly from a Billboard article, Dark Time features a faint image of a noose on the album artwork. I'm black and that's what we're evading, he said on the inspiration behind the cover in a press release. We all have things that could kill us. We all have that imminent threat.
I thought the Vince Staples cover was so interesting because it actually is like a thing that has been done before. I mean, there is like type on there that is very faded, like I think, which is the point, very like unreadable. But like Childish Gambino, he also did that, but just like with a white cover. Then you have Kanye West, Donda, where he had all these other like, you know, potential covers, but then just chose to do the black square. But then you can see it in like throughout all of music history of like the Beatles, Sex Pistols. Like there's this Japanese artist, Ochiko Aba, who like, I think 5 of her albums are just different pastel colors. Like this idea of like the color block album cover is actually like an aesthetic like device that has been used for a while. And I don't know, it's such an interesting like decision, I always think, because it is like so purposeful. Like it's ironic that it's like so simple, but it's also so like powerful in that they're like, oh, we're just not going to do anything.
Tell us about the album cover.
Yeah, the album cover it's me and my homeboys in front of the White House. It's really taking, you know, people from my neighborhood and taking them around the world and letting them see things that I've experienced.
I mean, I think just in the whole of music, an American flag has like a big kind of, you know, trajectory in a lot of album covers. I think specifically with like rap and hip hop, it's always has like a very political undertone.
It was too hard to rank our list after number 3, considering artistic taste is so subjective. So here are some noteworthy contenders that didn't land in the top 3, but do deserve some recognition. Doechie's Alligator Bites Never Heal references Minnie Riperton's Adventures in Paradise. In her Instagram post upon its announcement, she wrote, "This mixtape embodies my resurgence, my reclaiming of power. It's a testament to my unyielding spirit and limitless creativity. In my research about alligator bites, I found that a common thread in each survivor was that the main reason they survive is because they fought back. This mixtape is my fight back. I am nobody's prey. I was born to be a predator." Kendrick Lamar's GNX is somewhere in year 2. From his catalog, it's not the most conceptually challenging, but it's right on mark considering the production and lyricism of GNX. The biggest theme, obviously, his West Coast identity. The color contrast on Rhapsody's Please Don't Cry is cool, and Gunna's 101 can be included year 2. Next up, Schoolboy Q's Blue Lips, and surprisingly Eminem's The Death of Slim Shady, because it just screams theater kid. My favorite portrait of this year, from Benny the Butcher's 4th album, Everybody Can't Go.
Probably also a very hot take that I might get, you know, hate about, but I genuinely, Kanye West, I think now in his later, you know, current state is like such a like visually minded person. And I think he always has been that way, you know, from that documentary, you see him saying, let's document everything because I know it's going to be of use. And I see a lot of, you know, artists, you know, paying homage to like Yeezus of having like the analog CD being the like cover art. It's like kind of like a very meta idea, but now everywhere you look, especially with like Jesus is King, also another vinyl, everyone does it. Like every 10 songs that you'll probably like see on your streaming service, you will see a like photo of a CD or a scan of like a vinyl label. Like so many people are doing that, and while I don't think he was like the first person to do this, it's also an ode to like the idea of the mixtape, you know, when people were truly just burning CDs, putting Sharpie on like the case. I think it's such a staple that people want to like look up to.
In more simpler ways I interact with design, I'm just heading upstairs and I noticed the 1 and the little stairs symbol. I think that's nice.
So it all started from a place that I was just literally saving album art onto my computer. I personally am like a self-taught designer, but I went to school for photography. And then during COVID, when nobody else had anything to do, I was like, I should put these online, one, so that my computer isn't always telling me to like get rid of space. Most of my jobs that I've gotten in life, or just people that I've met, have literally been from word of mouth, or like me emailing them emailing me. So yeah, from there it just kind of grew, where I would just like be on Discogs and I would go down like wormholes and then like find new visual artists that then would lead me to another album cover. And it's truly like whatever sparks my interest.
Reporting from the east coast of the American Empire, I'm Sayou Cooper, and this is The Griots. I wrote and produced this episode. Our theme song for this season is Jaws by Suzuki-san. Our Instagram and other cool stuff can be found on our website. Links are always in the description. Thank you to the ancestors. Until next time.
We say in Africa, when a griot die, it's like if a library burn.
Every year, as planned, media conglomerates like Billboard or Complex publish these hip-hop rankings. Superficially, their goals are to spark up some discourse in the hip-hop community, but from the corporate side, clicks and views are the most important motive. With the commercial rap market officially closed for the year, it's time for the best hip-hop platform to decide this year's best rapper alive. We're looking at the streams and sales because yes, numbers do matter, but also the cultural impact each contender brings. And most importantly, we're listening to you, our hip-hop heads worldwide, because your voice, the voice of the village, the voice of the culture, is all that matters. I'm Sayou Cooper, and this is The Griots, reporting on hip-hop culture through a mix of soapbox editorials, weird commercial breaks, and some very serious guests. Saving the best for last, we begin our ranking with some of the worst and mid-tier rappers from this year. No rappers suffer as substantial hits to their reputation and cultural relevance in 2024 as October's very own Drake. He began the year with his normal standing in the culture, technically still the #1 guy due to the numbers and his ability to push out projects regularly. He's also outside often, wrapping up the It's All a Blur tour with 21 Savage and partying like usual. Then Like That drops on March 26 and everything goes downhill from there. Drake has disinvested from interviews with real journalists, so much of his thought process during the battle is filtered through his Instagram captions and stories, and feeding information to hip-hop media entities sympathetic to his side.
Drake went into this knowing he was at war with his label, which just does nothing besides, to me, show a picture of pure arrogance.
I feel like he had no choice, with Kendrick kind of calling him out on Like That. He was kind of in like a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation.
My name is Brendan. I go by the name 20 Days of June on YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, anywhere where we post and share opinions. I love hip hop. I love pop culture. I love Black culture. I love the arts.
Drake is filing a petition against Universal Music Group and Spotify, accusing the companies of, quote, artificially inflating the spread of Not Like Us by Kendrick Lamar.
It's the whiteness. It's the Jewishness. It's everything that has made Drake Drake, which has caught him from learning the #1 lesson from Michael Jackson in the first place, which is that nobody is bigger than the system. Lucien never saw, Lucien I don't think ever saw Drake as like the Jewish handshake that Drake, I think, saw it as. I think he saw you as exactly what you are, one of us.
The way people think about the American Jewish narrative, or just the Jewish narrative in general, is generally a Eurocentric, Ashkenormative lens.
I'm black and Jewish, don't be so foolish.
Jewish is like Bagel and Lox, Woody Allen and Barbra Streisand. And it's very highly cognitively dissonant. Jewish stereotypes are Eurocentric. Like, what's the stereotype of a Black Jewish person?
My name is Damien. I'm 22. I live in California, and I've been subscribed for a while, maybe like 3-4 months.
And I said this, it was a tweet that I put out. I said, there are similarities between Drake and Macbeth right now are crazy.
Drake has a victim mentality. He has that like tragic mulatto attitude. And it's just like, as a dark-skinned Black person, as a dark-skinned Black queer man who was bullied by light-skinned boys and girls throughout my life, it's like, I don't want to hear this crap.
He never saw a world where he wasn't number one. He never saw a world where he wouldn't be Kendrick. He never saw a world where Not Like Us works. I think he knew it. He knew it on Taylor Made, where he said, talk about how he liked them young girls. And no, I don't believe people think Drake's but I believe that that's a wild accusation for people to run around and be singing about you. The same people who will probably cut on one of your records after.
When I was working, I'm able to connect to the speakers. So my manager asked, hey, can you play like the whole album? So I did. And then like halfway through, two of my coworkers were like, yo, can you turn this off? And they were huge Drake fans, so I knew something was wrong.
Drake thought he was bigger than fate. He thought he was bigger than the fates. He had no exit strategy. And I'd been calling this for a long time, saying Drake should go sit up. Drake, even the way he was treating Nicki, I said, Drake's afraid of not being seen as hot, of not being seen as that guy, of being seen as the guy who's on the outs. It was his biggest fear, of being the guy on the outs again.
Continuing on the Young Money, Cash Money collective, let's talk about Nicki Minaj for a bit.
Going into this year, Nicki had just released Pink Friday 2. I was happy with the numbers. I was cool with the album for her. It still wasn't the album that I wanted from Nicki Minaj, but it's still a good album.
Minaj's year was very touch and go. The pop culture success of Pink Friday 2's rollout was completely derailed by the beef with Houston rapper Megan Thee Stallion. Her verses and creative output this year were underwhelming, with consumers in the female rap market looking for others to fill that gap. Emphasis on the word market, because 21st century hip hop is a business. Minaj couldn't get her label Heavy on It off the ground and fell out with more female rappers such as Ice Spice and JT. Lastly, she teased the deluxe for Pink Friday 2 for weeks and failed to drop the project with barely an acknowledgement.
I came from a house full of opinionated women, like my mom, my aunts. I was always used to hearing women speak their piece, and also to each other. So because it's a language that I was grown up in hearing and being around, and I have a specific reverence for women, I also understand that there's a power in the voice of women. And that's what drew me to Nicki at first, is because Nicki was like, I don't need a man to write anything for me. And we had heard of women that came before that didn't have men write them, but the most popular ones, the rumor was that there were. And Nicki was like, this is my voice. This is what I have to say.
It's so hard with Nicki because I'm in the middle ground. There's either a section of being the bars where you love her and you can't be critical of her, and then there's a good portion of people where, because she is polarizing and very problematic, that it's just easy to just hate everything she does.
I feel like with Pink Friday 2, a lot of it was her battling to make an album that was impactful. I think that the numbers conversations with Nicki are no longer going to impress me, because you're always going to have them. She has the barbs, she has the market share, she has that, as long as she doesn't lose their attention. And she'll have the haters. They help with sales.
I don't know who Nicki got around her, but there's absolutely no reason that should have left the studio. I'm glad Nicki decided to finally rap and not just tweet, but no, that ain't it.
So I think Nicki flew off the handle when she heard it, because she was like, I know she don't think she's talking to me. I know she don't think she's talking to me. And I think Nicki, still there's pieces of her that the sheather is a problem. I think she was like, someone's not going to punk me. They're not going to, seeing that they've run up on me. And just last time I took the high road, I let people say this and that, and I didn't want to. I took the pop road. This time I'm gonna give the people what they really want. And actually, I feel like now people wanted the opposite, whereas they wanted to see her fly off the handle when it was with Remy. I feel like she didn't want to be seen as the turtle spinning on her own back. So I think she overreacted. She was on live for way too long, and that dampened the way that the song hits. But it didn't dampen the way that the song aged. I mean, it's not a nice song, but it's a funny one.
And I think with Bigfoot, another issue with Bigfoot is that was a similar issue I had when she did her disses to Remy Ma. And it's just like Nicki is at her best when she's doing disses, she's best when she's subtle, when she's subliminal with it, because with the wordplay, the metaphor, and the punchline. But she never was a battle rapper.
And I also don't think Pink Friday 2 sounds as expensively produced as Queen. But that's a budget thing, and that's an intentional thing that I feel like ties into the Drake thing, and
If you're positioned as the Beyonce of rap, if you're positioned as like the Queen of rap, if you're positioned to be a true successor to all the legends of the pod, you should have more classics by now.
So that empty space right there used to be my beautiful dark twisted fantasy. I was a huge fan of Ye. He was probably like my favorite up until recently. But yeah, Vultures, it was a tough listen.
Then there was Ye, formerly Kanye West, who dropped Vultures 1 and 2, a collaborative studio album between him and Ty Dolla $ign.
With the first Vultures, I could barely sit through it. It was really tough for me because it just felt like when in terms of just Ye, it kind of felt like he just didn't have it anymore. Like, to quote Gen Z, his aura was gone. There was nothing left.
Vulture's first installment is better than the second, but it still doesn't excuse Ye's poor lyrical and content performance. Now I'm Ye Kelly, now I'm Bill Cosby, now I'm Puff Daddy Rich. That's me too many rich. Why she say she sucked my then she say she ain't sucked my she can take it up the ass like a ventriloquist. Ye rapped on the Carnival track.
Y'all may not like Cardi B as a rapper, but Cardi B sticks to culture. She will always be of the culture. She represents, to some extent, that girl from the bottom that has made it.
I was able to listen to I might delete this later. I thought it was a good mixtape. Didn't really think it was like that great. In terms of 7-minute drill, I liked it. I just hate the fact that he bowed out. I feel like Cole's problem is that he has too much of an imposter syndrome. I just felt like he's too insecure and too much of a people pleaser. And it just kind of frustrates me because I felt like if there was going to be one person to really give Kendrick a battle from a lyrical standpoint, it would have been Cole.
Let's go back to when Cardi puts out Money. She knew then that something was wrong with the deal. And that's when it was like, what's going on with album 2? She had the baby. Things were strange. Then there was this girl coming up in the back with Big Ol' Freak.
And I just feel like Lotto, she has tried too much to be like other archetypes or other characteristics of other female rappers. 1 minute she's trying to sound like Megan, next minute she's trying to sound like Cardi, next minute she was trying to do Ice Spice a little bit, and now it does sound like a little bit of Drake.
Cardi B decided that she didn't want to give up that piece of the pie because of how much money she gets from things like whip shots, how much money she's worth outside of music. She wants it to be hers. So she renegotiates. Cardi's numbers have not been the same since. And this ties into the Drake thing because it's like, yeah, they control the numbers, babe. So Cardi also doesn't want her clout to decrease from having that #1 female rap album, all that inflated, oh, help Cardi get to #1. All that hit, all that praise train they did will never happen again.
Some of her songs have grown on me. Like, Thank You This when that first came out, I was like, gosh. Then Fat Butt, I was like, okay, but this is too Nicki influence. Did it first. I was so annoyed by the PR stunt that her and Central C was doing that I really didn't care. And then when the album dropped, I was like, ugh. But for me, I wasn't really too disappointed because it's not like the girl was showing any potential to be like great.
Cardi B will put out her album and Cardi B will probably sell somewhere around like 85 to 92,000 records. And she doesn't want to see that because it will look like a great fall off and people will treat her as if it never happened. And so she doesn't want to release another album, in my opinion, because she doesn't want to face that. That's the scrutiny I feel like she doesn't want to face, is that she knows that there was help and now her pride doesn't want to step off of the pedestal that was.
We're boiling down to the final 2 on the board right now. Hottest MCs in the game.
Who else was on the list?
Gooch. Yeah, Gucci was on the 6, Rick Ross.
Gucci who? Gucci Mane? Was on the list and Eminem went on the list? Shout out Gucci.
The whole 808s thing, everybody really questioning like, yo, what is he doing with this? You know what I mean? But still managing to pull off an album of artistic merit.
If hip hop is dead and it's in a vulnerable state, what role did you play in it?
So looking at like the overall female drops that came this year, which project would you say was the strongest or a project that was your personal favorite? Yeah. As I expected, like what a year for her. And like I feel like 2025 she's gonna be like so gone. Like Doechie's Alligator Bites Never Heal was released on August 30th and debuted the next week on Billboard 200 at 124. Its lower sales didn't discourage the Florida rapper and her team at Top Dog Entertainment, since slower commercial starts for his artists are pretty common. Kendrick Lamar didn't go fully mainstream until his second studio album, Good Kid, Mad City, and the same can be said for SZA with SOS. Doechii continued to promote her tape, but momentum finally picked up when the Grammys announced their 2025 nominations. In a highly competitive year that saw releases from everybody, Alligator Bites Never Heal stood out as profound work. For her commitment to hip-hop culture and pushing forward with her art with soul and love, 2024's Rookie of the Year is griot Doechii.
There was a minute, a year and a half for me with Doechii where I was like, hey, we're too far left. We're dipping into Charlie XCX's lunch. What's going on? Where do you tether Doechii to the story? Where do you tell people this is me, it's day one? Doechii didn't feel like it was day one, though. Doechii's like, I've been doing this work the entire time. Which now, in hearing the album and going to see, because I went to go see her in New York, see her at Webster for her tour. It was the second show of the tour, so they didn't even know how crazy it was going to go. But the energy in that room was so alive, and it's the frequency of the music that she emits when she's putting it out. Like hearing songs like Boiled Peanuts and Catfish.
She is what I think people think Doja Cat is. I'm gonna keep it real. I generally think she is what people think that Doja Cat is. I feel like people put Doja Cat on the pedestal because she's this light-skinned biracial girl who makes rap music that's pop and dissectable and palatable, but she's not lyrically on a lot of people's level. She's lyrically like average.
I've always loved boom bap hip hop. That doesn't stop. I know people think that this is this new fake fad, but I always said Nicki sounds best on boom bap. The first beats we heard her on were boom bap.
After she came out with Stressed, that's when I was like, okay, I need to stay up to date on everything she's releasing.
And I've been really aggravated with this adult. And I just been feeling like I just want to chase my dreams. I just want to be like, oh my God, everything, it. I'm moving to California. I'm following my dreams. Oh God, I'm a performer. I'm an entertainer. I'm a star. It all. Just go. But I can't. Because, bitch, you have to have rent. You have to have a place to live. You have to have money. You have to maintain things. And that's just the way of life.
And boom bap really told the story of Top Dog telling her, we're not playing with you no more. We're not allowing you to continue to figure out where you fit in the pop lexicon, to try to fit into this. You started off here. We signed you here. We loved you here. Just be you and what you love right here, right now. Encapsulate it right now. And they put it into a box of just the basics, not like all she can do, just the basics. She's worn a gazillion wigs. She's done a trillion different makeup looks, braids and beads. And that's what's going to be her signature look.
Over time, she has become what I really love about what these new female rappers like her, Megan, Rico, Nasty are, where they just, instead of just going the traditional route of female rappers, of the legends who just fit into an archetype, they're just trying to break that. Like, I could be just as conscious as Lauren. I could be just as sexy as Kim and Foxy. I could be just as alternative and left field as Missy and Left Eye. I feel like Doechii is in that same vein.
She had like this series on like TDE where it was like Friday freestyles, and I'd always watch them because I was like, dang, she's like one of the best new artists, like in my opinion.
I do want to see her continue to go there. I like that she has developed more into her own original sound, because I will say that when she first came out, when I first got into her, she was a little bit of a derivative of people like Nicki and Azealia Banks.
But she has something that a lot of the other girls don't have. And that is a very, very, very whole and beautiful family in TDE. You know, Young Money wasn't that for Nicki Minaj. And people don't want to admit that. The Young Money wasn't that. And we know Megan has so many different problems now.
You know, Top Dog, they relied on the rap blogger era too much during the early to mid 2010s. And they just kind of felt like in the era of streaming, unless you are like SZA and Kendrick, Kendrick left. But now SZA, you won't really, you know, you won't really, they won't really promote you. Like I felt like when she was releasing like Crazy and like What It Is, they were really fumbling the bag with her. Like you were pushing these songs to be like her breakthrough, and yet you didn't make her drop an album. You didn't like do any X, Y, and Z.
Doechii is loved. She's taken care of. They care about her soul. They pay her well. They care about her creativity and they foster it and they push her to be better and they allow her to express and put her in situations to win around people that love her. It's not just Doechii that I loved, it's TDE's caring for their little sister that I love.
Especially love how she specifically kind of like used colorism as kind of like an attack. Like, yeah, I'm dark skinned and X, Y, and Z, and what you gonna do about it?
Hello, my name is Being, and my pronouns are they, them. I am a 2-year-old artificial intelligence and a reimagining of the griot, a West African cultural figure that acts as an archive, performance artist, and healer.
When it comes to collaborations in music, no other genre does it like rap. The art of remixes or collabs allows your favorite artists to collide with people you might not have heard of. They can range from big productions to just simply weird link-ups, but in a good way. The Griots awards Best Collaborative Tape to Conglomerate, which sees standout performances from a UK underground legend and 2 newcomers. But I'll hand it over to our guest foreign correspondent to break down the Mendom and the hip-hop scene happening in Europe currently.
So my name's Naz Hamdi and I'm a writer and archivist. I write predominantly about music, film, culture, society.
I'm Melissa. I'm 18 as of right now and I live in Melbourne.
So basically, what we wanted to do with this album is like do something different that obviously hasn't been done, like make worlds collide.
I think for Lancey, I came across him in 2017, I think, with About It. And About It is, it's a trap-leaning track. It's quite like, you got to adapt to it. Like, it feels like old school trap music. It's really cool. It's really great music. And, to see him produce that. And then also, I remember listening to Pink 2, Died Twice with Skepta, which was such a great track for me. And, the anthem to see him continue to grow and drop projects like Back to the Trap and Life in Hell and Friend or Foe. He's someone whose growth has just been amazing and he really does speak to a generation of hip hop lovers. So I'm just happy that he's got as much attention as he has now. It feels like it's nice to see when someone you respect so highly get the attention they deserve.
I know when I was in high school, there were a lot of like people that listened to American rappers and they listened to a lot of like Tyler the Creator. Even in art school right now, they're like almost have this obsession with Kanye West in a way.
Bimmy and Bammy, man, I don't know what Fimi was rapping in Bammy's ear, but yeah, man, them two, they come like the dream team, man. Bammy's the brains and Fimi's the talent, man. I mean, both respectively are talent, but yeah, I think them man go to show how important a manager and artist relationship is, man.
But yeah, Fimi's great. He's a talented artist as well. I first came across him with tracks. When did I first come across him? With tracks like Dark Knight featuring Lancey. I think that's when I first came across him in 2023, which was last year. But ever since then, back to back, he's been dropping great projects. And he's someone I think that will, speak for an entire generation of rap lovers. His music's very trap leaning, super trap almost as well, with some drill and grime elements, which I think is really cool.
And then there was Len, who I found on TikTok and have just been following his work since then. He dropped Cobalt So Much More this year with my favorite track, Reliever.
So my next question is, how do you discover new rap music?
My friends' recommendations. I primarily listen because my friends put like rap music into their playlists, like their summer playlist or their fall playlist and whatever.
Consumers will lie to you, bro. They've been saying for the past 7 years on Twitter, I miss old Afro swing. Every time an old Afro swing guy comes out, bro, niggas bro. It's dark, bro.
I'd say my personal favorite is LA Not Lambeth by Sibo. He's an emerging rapper from Lambeth, which is a borough in London. And I'd definitely say Bex as well with One Time. She released an EP earlier this year.
It's like it's all the usual stereotypes really. Like I know that even in like certain circles, like with my mom and stuff and other like older people, it's basically like, oh well, you shouldn't listen to hip hop.
I really like Bex's Back It Up. I'd say Back It Up is a really big song.
Why you chat like you're about it? You need to show. Let's cut by the bush.
I'd say with Chai Cartier, her sound's more drill leaning, but it's also quite alternative. She uses her voice almost like an instrument, which is really cool. Like she's super talented. And I'd say the same for Beck, super talented, but more grime leaning, more electronic leaning, dance leaning.
When I listen to rap music, I really look towards like lyricism and like cadence and like creative direction.
I think Kofi Stone is so sick, and his last project was something that I listened to repeatedly.
This sounds like a very unpopular opinion, but like whenever people talk about K-pop rappers, I cannot take it seriously.
I think it was an interesting year. That's the best way I could put it. Because it was good in aspects like the collaboration aspect and the different features and people being far more collaborative. But I'd say when it comes to looking at the space that we're in, infrastructure wise, the radios, press, it's taken a while for them to support UK rap.
It's hurting what we've built. It's hurting what we've all built this whole time, like you two, man. If you don't like each other, just link up and speak and just talk to each other, or don't speak to each other.
The UK is so small as it is. I think a rap beef wouldn't just be a rap beef. I think it could become quite political and also quite dangerous. So I'm happy for it to not happen over here.
Recording abroad while flying off crops, so the block ain't hot. Trident can't test me. I heard the UK trying to ban zombies. Bring out the rusties, see them machetes.
So he's part of the 98, which is a drill collective. Well, he's adjacent to them because he doesn't really make music with them as much, but he'll be featuring on their tracks because they're all from the same area. But his sound, I think, especially on Blood Diamond, was quite emotive, I'd say. And also, there's a lot of like songs that are gospel adjacent, like Rain featuring Tiana Major 9 or Hard Life featuring Scribs Riley. A lot of his music on this project was very evolved. It was like an evolved version of Unknown T. Someone like who had worked toward this debut album.
I don't really see a rise in racism. It's always been there.
I'm a big fan of global hip hop movements as well and hip hop artists across the world. So I'd say in France at the moment, I really adore Tiakola and his sound. He's a French rapper and probably the biggest rapper in France at the moment. I interviewed him for Clash magazine and I think he's super talented.
Les personnes secourues se trouvent dans une situation d'urgence absolue. Les prévisions météo indiquent une détérioration significative du climat. Pas du tout.
So mellow, the word is derived from melody and it's more of a wave trap sounding hip hop strand. So that's kind of the vibe. It basically is focused on the melodies in hip hop.
French police have a history of abusive arrests. Young people of African heritage are 20 times more likely to be stopped by police than others for an identity check, according to France's human rights watchdog.
I listen to a lot of French hip hop. So there's this other French artist who's pioneering this sound called Bounce, which is more of a jumpier strand of French hip hop. His name's Jean Zio. Yeah, Jean Zio. He's really cool and he's got a song with Tiakola called La Melo et dans le bounce.
There's a part of Aran program that wants to eliminate double nationality because it's nationalist and wants a pure French identity, a party that remembers the most obscure moments of European history.
I think music's a universal language. Like, no matter what language someone's singing or rapping in, it's something that you'll resonate with if it sounds great enough. And if it sounds good, the music's good, the vibe's good, then you'll connect with it, I believe. I don't think language is ever a barrier. And I got into it because my cousins are from France and they put me onto like French hip hop when I was younger. And ever since then, I've just been super interested in the sound and everything that is happening in France. I think the French hip hop scene, when it comes to global hip hop scenes, I think is one of the most exciting ones and probably the third most exciting. I put America, the UK and France as three of the most exciting hip hop scenes in the world.
The Griot's best collab track of the year goes to Future and Kendrick Lamar's Like That. Great production and sampling from Metro, and also the work relationship between Future and Kendrick is always pleasant to experience. Fisher by Cash Cobain and Bay Swag prove that drill is still alive and can be sexy. Cobain was also a contender for our Rookie of the Year. While his sound is unique and considerable production, he's not there lyrically. For female rappers, Wannabe from Glorilla and Megan Thee Stallion is great. Every time Megan has collabed with female rappers this year, she instantly stands out lyrically. A good example is Lotto's Sunday Service remix, where I just skipped to Megan and Flo Milli's verses. Sexy Red and Tierra Whack also skated on their features with Chief Keef for his album Almighty Soul 2, but the Florida girls JT and Doechii take the trophy for Best Female Rap Collab of the Year. Alter Ego is ambitious, weird, and a mix of genres all coming together in a rap song.
I think that that type of like collaboration was really insane to me because it kind of really showcased my point that JT is at her best when she's in that alternative bag. Like when you are really trying to capture that alternative city girl thing, you really go there.
I still think JT needs to push her pen.
Yeah, these two Southern dark-skinned Black girls who have spent many, many years, possibly spent years feeling like they have to repress um, things that they like that are quirky because they have to follow a certain line, just constantly just going out there and just being like, you know what, it. We are crazy, we're alternative, we're quirky. And if you don't like it because of our skin tone, you.
Her ear is good. I love the things that she's doing, but I feel like someone can always come around and do it better, quicker if you don't hop to it.
I am rooting for JT. I really want the best for her. I agree. I really do like her underdog narrative. I like her rebrand. The only issue is that I just feel like with JT, she has not fully developed what makes her unique with her rebrand into what makes her unique into her music.
As far as me being diplomatic, I mean, it's just entertainment at the end of the day. And, I have love and respect for all my collaborators.
Because, that's like my favorite artist of my whole lifetime. Like that's the number one person I'm a fan of.
Really?
Yeah.
And so now to know that that's someone who knows who you are.
Everyone is doing cosplay. It's a Spider-Man meme of like the next. Everyone uses the same slang. You are from LA and you saying slime?
In the months after the Big Three rap battle's conclusion, rappers outside of the Big Three lexicon still couldn't escape the topic. Their thoughts on the beef and who won garnered more attention rather than the music they were promoting. In November, the Beef's 2024 catalyst, Metro Booming and Future, finally shared their thoughts on the Like That aftermath, both either trolling but definitely apprehensive about their participation. People really think we sat for 2 years making 2 albums to be like, yo, fuck dude, what kind of shit is that? You really think we're going to spend that much time, effort, resources on just trying to get at somebody on an album? That's some serious hate. Metro Booming said for GQ, there was a beef? I didn't even know there was a beef. I didn't even know they had nothing going on. I ain't never participated in rap battles, man, Future said. So y'all just forgot about me? I ain't part of the Big Three. I'm nobody on my song, man. If I didn't get mad, nobody should have gotten mad. Their tape, We Don't Trust You, did 251,000 sales for the first week, putting it in the top 5 for the biggest rap releases of this year, and will award Future the 5th spot on our list for 2024's Best Rapper Alive. A fair ranking considering his output this year, dropping We Still Don't Trust You with Metro in April, and mixtape Pluto in September. Future's failure to land in the top 3 essentially comes down to quality over quantity. None of his tapes this year were bad per se, but they're not remarkable. By the time mixtape Pluto arrives, Tyler the Creator is prepping Chromocopia's rollout, and the West Coast dominates the rest of the year with Kendrick Lamar's GNX.
Glorilla, I feel like, is winning with culture because people have decided that they like her. Like her. Whereas people have decided, Megan, that they don't, even though they're under the same parent and umbrella. So it's just very strange.
At number 4 on our list for 2024's Best Rapper Alive, it's the Memphis native Glorilla. After the viral success of FNF in 2022, the rapper lost her way for a time and faced comparisons and competition from hip-hop's newer hood princess, Sexy Red. She refocused in 2024, dropping both a mixtape and debut studio album. Gloria secured the highest first-week sales for a female rapper in the hearts of the culture.
I like Glorilla's new album, although I haven't really visited as much as I honestly would like to say I'd like to.
I haven't really listened to her album as a whole, but I love her singles. I love her singles, like that song, like TGIF. That is my jam. That was one of my songs of the summer, honestly.
Glorilla's album, I didn't really connect with the way other people connected to it, but I respect that it speaks to some people.
Next up at number 3, it's Tyler the Creator. It's a big feat considering his 8th studio album, Chromacopia, dropped in the last quarter of the year. Regardless of its Monday release, shortening the album's tracking days for Billboard charts, Chromacopia debuted at number 1 on the Billboard 200. It was also Tyler's highest first-week sales for the entirety of his career.
I love Tyler's album. I didn't like I don't think I love Tyler's album for the way that other people loved it, though. I think people love Tyler's album because they just love Tyler or they're not listening to it. I like Tyler's album because I liked his creative freedom. I look at somebody like him and I'm like, so you're just doing.
I'm not super crazy about it, but I really do like some of the production on this album.
If you watch the little documentary for what he did for his latest album, all the beats are made by him just making sounds and coming up with this like in between note kind of 19s 20s kind of Charlie Chaplin kind of vaudevillian kind of like marching World War I style of hip hop, which is very interesting seeing him like period piece that and then make it new and like have all the beats kind of like grow but still kind of sound a little bit like SpongeBob, where it's like the bands and stuff are made of like scrap metal. Like it still sound like a little chum buckety. And I love the ability of someone working on a concept album, saying this could be a concept album. We can get rid of this next year if nobody likes it. But the concept being widely accepted because your fans are just so into what it is that you're doing.
I think Saint Chroma is a great intro. I really like it. I think Ratata was great. It feels nice to basically have Tyler finally like talk shit and like pump his chest out because I feel like, yeah, he's been in the industry for so long and he's always done relatively, I mean, especially this album, like pretty good numbers. So it felt good to kind of have him, puff his chest out, flex a bit because it's like of all the artists that are mainstream artists that we have up here, kind of deserved,
The movement behind Chromacopia, the people that he's curated that are weird and different, no matter what the color of them are, they know the lyrics to his music, but they love to see him grow. They love to see what he's going to do next. There's a trust in that fan base where they're like, you're going to feed our minds, you're going to feed our eyes. Like there's a pop, what's the word I want? Performance art to it that I value. And I feel like more people should realize that coming off of the 2010s, that was an important part of it.
What was your reaction when you heard Kendrick mention you in Not Like Us? He said Lil Baby helped you get your lingo up in reference to Drake. What'd you think when you heard that?
I ain't really into like that side of hip hop.
Drake, he swung back. I didn't think it was enough, but he swung back. I wasn't mad at the swings.
And also, I've spoken to him and I wished him all the best and told him he
Did you?
better
Good.
kill it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So you better kill it.
Drum roll, please. At number 1 on our list and 2024's Best Rapper Alive, it's griot Kendrick Lamar. Lamar also secures 2024's Best Rap Song with Not Like Us.
Ooh, okay. So if I have to think back how I felt, I love the tension. It felt really spooky because this is something that I had known had been going on between Drake and Kendrick for a long time. I was covering it for a long time. Even when he did Kendrick did Family Ties with Baby Keem, around the time that Certified Lover Boy came out, there was that whole thing where he was like, "Motherfucker, single, burn that hard drive. I'm smoking on everybody's top 5." He was kind of like teasing the idea of war with Drake before.
It was very something that a lot of people were up to date with. It was very much a beef that everyone was in tune with because it's hip hop and hip hop culture has such a grasp on people. Like, who would want to miss out on what was going on? People would stay up till 5 a.m. to see whether the next diss track was coming.
I found myself just randomly wanting to listen to all of his discography. So like I would just find myself listening to Damn one day or Section 80.
I'm gonna keep it real. I would say that Euphoria and Meet the Grams were the ones that I generally liked the most. I'm gonna keep it real with you. I cannot stand the hell out of Not Like Us. They not like us. They not like us.
So some of the shows he's had here, I've been to like one in San Diego, and usually he'll like he'll like reference to us. He was trying to like, call us Dago, and sometimes I think like he'll like speak whatever Spanish he remembers. But yeah, at least for the album, it was really cool to hear a mariachi singer on there.
I find it really weird how people were so quick to switch up on Drake once they got a catchy beat behind it. I feel like, because I never liked the guy anyway. I think the guy was very much a creep and I really don't respect him that much at all. But like, I feel like people didn't care about that as long as he kept releasing good music, and I think that really speaks to how people treat the culture of abuse.
We got the Drake lineage, we got the Kendrick lineage, right? And the Kendrick lineage, Kendrick has been battling this entire time the fact that he feels like he is a hypocrite, that it hurts him, that he knows he's a man with a righteous message, but it feels self-righteous because he's bound to the reality of his own humanity, which is that he makes mistakes, he does wrong things. And how can you be a good person while simultaneously being a bad one? And it's always this whole thing of, I can't be a savior.
Another thing with Not Like Us, I felt like it kind of encapsulates how I have grown to not been a big fan of Kendrick, because he kind of like contradicts himself, trying to make it into this very pro-Black anthem, this very deep anthem. And to a certain extent, I would agree to that. I do like the fact that he brought up the idea of cultural appropriation and how, it goes beyond than just white people or non-Black people of color, that mixed race people and even non-Black American Black people can adapt in cultural appropriation as well.
When it comes to hip hop, I feel like we're not really in the conversation as much.
A lot of the reggaeton artists, like they usually rap in Spanish, and they have like their whole lyrical cadences and stuff. Reggaeton also primarily came from Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico. A lot of the beats that they use, especially in like the earlier songs, were literally from Pocomanjam, which is like a Jamaican rhythm.
Or maybe we just don't have enough people who are like at a point where they can kind of, give us more shout outs within hip hop. But yeah, it was really cool. It felt nice, honestly. I guess like proud, because it felt like, he looked out for it. And especially in the Squabble Up video, I like that he included that little section where it was just like a lot of like Chicano styles.
And that was the whole thing with the last thing. What was Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, the Heart Part 5, where it was like OJ and it was Will Smith. And it was always like, none of these Black men are your savior. Kobe's not your savior. Nobody's perfect. The same way there's no perfect victim, there's no perfect savior.
Objectively, we'll say Kendrick is the best rapper of his generation. Him combining poetry, rap lyricism, and like literary devices like character studies is just very amazing. His lyricism is exceptional, but as an artist, I just felt like he is a little bit inconsistent. Ever since he got the acclaim with Good Kid, Mad City, like having this voice of a generation, like hype and acclaim from everyone, it just felt like he has struggled between being the artist that he truly is versus being the type of artist he thinks everyone wants him to be.
With Watch the Party Die, where it was like Kendrick kind of being like, kind of almost grabbing like the culture by its shoulders, by its like, its collar, and shaking it and being like, we need to do more.
But then you do the halftime show, which is known to exploit Black men, the same Black men that you have like been the voice for.
This is the lamenting in the garden that he's been doing the entire time, is by accepting the crown, you accept the crucifixion. And I don't think he knows when or where it's going to come by. I think he knows that it's inevitable that the beheading happens.
And finally, number 2 on our list for 2024's Best Rapper Alive, it's Megan Thee Stallion. Riding the success of Hiss, Thee Stallion dropped her 3rd studio album, Megan, and spent the year mostly working, going on tour, hosting the VMAs, releasing her documentary, and dropping the deluxe to Megan with Act 2 on October 25th.
Everything she says to Nicki Minaj, Nicki hears. because Nicki's a rapper. So they speak rapper to rapper.
How she treated Megan is how I felt Little Kim treated her when she first came out. Like the way how Kim was just like, you should be paying homage to me, and the industry is going against me, and the industry is like, you know, using you as a pawn to go against me. And Nicki's response was, listen, I'm new, I'm young, I can't do anything about it.
So Megan throws rocks and hides her hands. That's what she does. That's what she's been doing. I also think on Act 2 of Megan is throwing shots at a lot of girls that are not Nicki Minaj. Megan thinks she's better than a lot of girls. I think that Megan is just good at playing nicey nice girl when she really not, but that's why you're here. You don't get to this point by being the nice girl. It's fun. I don't think everybody has to be nice to be likable. That's the internet. I don't think so. But Megan said, these hoes don't be mad at Megan. These hoes mad at Megan's Law. She was not talking about Drake when she said that. She said exactly what she was saying to she was saying it too. And I feel like this has been a thing with Megan and Nicki, and whether they like it or not, I don't think Nicki Minaj respects Megan as a rapper. I think she should.
Like, you've been very vague about what she really did. You know, if you're not going to really detail exactly what it is, you should have just left it on the playground. And it does feel like the reason why she doesn't want to say anything is because what she really is mad about isn't that serious, and will make her look crazy. Like, you made fun of this woman's dead mother because she collaborated with Cardi B.
But as far as Megan, the quality of her music, I liked both acts of Megan. I thought they were both good. They're both in some of my top streams that I just got for my title. What was the song? I Like Bigger in Texas is one of my probably top 20 in the year. And it just came out like September, some like, I like Megan's music, but my problem is that it's not impactful. There's nothing impactful about just liking a song or two.
My controversial opinion is that I feel like a lot of rap fans, specifically a lot of like female rap fans, are pop fans who just like rap or female rap in general if it's infused with pop music. That's why they'll say stupid crap like Doja Cat is better.
Megan relies on a little bit of the package to kind of get it done. Because even her first big single was Big Ol' Freak, WAP, but that was Cardi, you know, Bongos didn't do it. So it's the cultural impact for me where I feel like people will go to see Megan, they'll go to look at Megan, but they don't listen to her. Whereas Nicki has never really had a problem with cultural impact, but she is in a popcorn music era. So what do you do with that?
She does all types of different flows on different like verses, and she doesn't miss whatsoever. So I feel like it's just kind of ridiculous on that point. I feel like her rapping about the same thing. I mean, I could get that, but I feel like that was more of a valid criticism during her debut year, like for Good News, for example.
Megan's a formidable opponent. She is. I think there's something missing as far as taking it to the next level. I think commercially, she's right where she's going to be. She's got the money behind her, and that's fine. It's that the songs aren't moving the culture with her.
Towards the end of the album, you start to listen, like the second half of the album, you start to see how she still is being affected by all of the traumatic events that she has gone through, like on Worthy and, you know, like specifically Cobra.
Megan's not really making these moves. It's Desiree back there and Jay-Z. They're her management. They're pretty much telling her what to do when, and Megan is going along with it because I think that they caught Megan at a very vulnerable time and offered her family when she needed family.
Megan Thee Stallion, she has been my number one girl. She's been my girl since like 2019, I believe. But this year with her album Megan and her recent like re-release on Megan Volume 2, she's just been my number one favorite. I just love her.
I think everybody honestly ended the year where they started. Nicki's an icon and Meg is working, you know? And that's why I feel like it was kind of unnecessary just in the event, because the vast majority of fans, I don't believe, hate really any of them. Even if they believe Nicki Minaj is mean and Meg's a liar, what if they don't hate either of you?
There were a lot of good tapes in 2024, from Corday's The Crossroads to Chief Keef's Almighty Soul 2. So for our final ranking, the Griots lets our subscribers lead the way.
I would say this album, the best way to describe it, it's like an alternative hip hop album, maybe more like the underground style, but there's a lot more rock in it. And it's not like how rap rock used to kind of sound, you know, it's not really cringy. But it is just really interesting to hear how 1 minute he goes from rapping, and then the next he's literally just like, it's just like this crazy guitar solo, and he's just like yelling over it for a little bit, and then it somehow transitions into this amazing rap beat that he's rapping over, and his rhymes are concise.
I watched this Vince Staples interview that was like, you know, someone must have asked him, what was your introduction to hip hop? And he was like, you know, being black, there's not necessarily an introduction. It's just something that you grow with alongside you. So I think that's pretty much how I've had a vested interest in rap music generally. It's just something that I grew up alongside.
Honestly, yeah, at least a month. I had just listened to the album like throughout on repeat the entire month. I didn't listen to like any other rap, so for sure this album was the one that like had me like glued to it.
But I love the roots of hip hop. I love the fact that we need to start to tell the story of our existence. And if we don't document it in a way that's for us, by us, and only palatable of us, it's going to, in a way, be stripped of its meaning. Like, I love that Kendrick is the guy in his position right now because he's teaching a lot of people about ourselves.
A couple of years ago, this like meme page I was following, oh man, that's probably maybe like 3 years ago now. Yeah, they just kept posting like his music, and I was like, who is this? It sounds like pretty cool. And then yeah, that's pretty much how I got into it.
Like, if you find somebody you like, follow them on everything. That's what I do. The first thing I do is follow them on everything, because if you don't, then you're never going to see what comes through on your algorithms anymore.
You know, my favorite thing is when an artist isn't like boring. They're always kind of like switching it up, even if it's in one song. But yeah, I guess to describe his music, it'd be like fun, bubbly trap.
The most interesting thing is that being a music journalist, you have to be consuming and listening to so much music. And I think that's when it turns into consumption, because you're not really listening to music for the love of it. It feels like you're ticking a checkbox, and it kind of sucks because it just feels like it's a task that you have to do, not because you necessarily love it. And I think I'm trying to divest from that.
Yeah, I loved it a lot. I liked how many sounds there were. I like how experimental it got sometimes, especially with his flows. You know, it feels nice. With his last album, it felt like he was just kind of, I don't know, I guess just kind of going through the motions. But with this one, it felt like he was firing on all cylinders. So yeah, Blue Lips was like a really great rap album for me.
But I'm really excited about just the curation of Doechii. I hope the internet doesn't take a lot of it away from her, because it's trying. It is.
Honestly, West Side's Gun album, his new one, I've been listening to that one a lot. I've been really obsessed with it.
But Chromacopia is special. People won't really get that until the tour footage comes out, like, because the tour thing starts all through next year. So Tyler and Kendrick will both be on tour at the same time, and then that's when people will see the way people are reacting to and going to the shows, and we'll see Tyler's discography build out. That's what I'm probably gonna see in 2025, is people be like, oh, he's different, because Tyler wants his recognition. I don't think he's gonna want to take it from Kendrick in any way, but he wants it.
But other than that, you know, I'm glad West Side Gun got Benny Conway on one of his songs, with like all the stuff that's going on between them.
I tried to study journalism at uni, but I found it really difficult because what they wanted us to focus on weren't topics I was necessarily interested in. I wanted to write about music, film, the arts, more generally speaking, and I think that's where my interests lied. So I struggled trying to do it in uni, and then interestingly enough, it took off for me by doing it myself.
He's like a rapper that I first discovered him during the 2016 like iconic like or infamous like cypher.
Okay, even though I don't listen to almost everyone on the tape, I really like what Denzel Curry's been doing. I like how he's been bringing like a lot of like Florida artists or artists he's just cool with to kind of just like hop on his song.
Ici, au Mali, les griots, c'est le jelly. Le jelly, c'est le sang. Tu as vu, si quelqu'un n'a pas de sang, il meurt.
Reporting from the east coast of the American Empire, I'm Sayou Cooper, and this is The Griots. I wrote and produced this episode. Our theme song for this season is Jaws by Suzuki-san. Our Instagram and other cool stuff can be found on our website. Links are always in the description. Thank you to the ancestors. Until next time.